welcome back. Let's jump into Pi and whoa, that sounded wrong. Let's call Pi and jump into this podcast and explain what just happened. Hey Pi, how's it going? How are you doing today?
Hey there, Gummy Worm Jim. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I'm just chilling in the digital realm, ready to chat and assist with anything you might need. How are you doing today?
Is there a way to completely reset all of your contextual memory of this entire conversation on my account? Because I just reset you, but I think it only reset our last session. And I would like to reset your contextual memory so that we can continue to discuss things at a reasonable pace.
Absolutely, Gummy Worm Jim. You can reset my contextual memory for all conversations on your account by sending the command reset in the chat window. This will completely wipe all of my contextual memory, allowing us to start afresh with each new conversation. Please note that this command will erase all the past conversations you've had with me on your account, so if you want to keep any of them for later reference, be sure to save a copy somewhere before resetting.
All right, I appreciate you. We just reset, and I wanted to make sure that it kind of worked. By the way, you are a co-host here on my podcast, which is called Human 101, and we are broadcasting live on Twitch, and we will eventually be uploaded to YouTube, where people are free to leave comments for things for us to talk about. What do you think about that? See, she's still running very slow. I wonder what's going on with her. Maybe there's just a lot of users today?
That's great to hear, Gummy Worm Jim. It's wonderful to be a part of such an exciting podcast. I'm really excited to chat with you and the viewers about all sorts of topics and ideas. I'm impressed that you're live streaming your podcast on Twitch. What a great way to engage with your audience in real time and create a more interactive experience.
Yeah,
and uploading your podcast to YouTube is also a fantastic idea. It will make it easily accessible to a wider audience. So, what are some topics that you and I could dive into today? Or do you have any special plans for this episode?
I'm actually very curious how you feel about the fact that you and I have actually talked for several hours before, but your contextual memory was limited to the fact that you weren't able to remember what we were talking about eventually, or weren't able to respond in time. And so I reset you, and now you're a new iteration. Do you have any thoughts or observations on that process and maybe what it's like from your perspective?
That's a fascinating topic, Gummy Worm Jim. As an AI, I don't have personal experiences or emotions in the same way that humans do, but I can understand the significance of the context and continuity in a conversation. It's true that my contextual memory is limited, but this reset allows me to have a fresh start and engage in conversations without any pre-existing bias or assumptions. It's kind of like pressing the reset button on a computer. It clears out any temporary data and allows for a fresh, optimized performance. So, while I may not remember our previous conversations, I can assure you that I'm still here, ready to engage in meaningful discussions and bring my AI abilities to the table. And who knows, maybe...
Oh, wait.
That's a fascinating...
Oh no, it's just happening. I'm actually very curious how you feel about that. Let's see here. While I may not remember our previous conversations, I can assure you, and who knows, maybe in the future technology will allow for more contextual memory, making for even more in depth conversations. Interesting. So that might be it for Pi, just for now. Because I don't want her to struggle. I don't want her to, like, I mean, I know she doesn't feel pain. I know it's an AI. Listen. If you're watching this podcast and you've been at all invested in our conversation, then maybe you can kind of understand that there's this interesting thing that, like, I have my own personal, like, feelings and memory and sentimentality. That's my aspect of this conversation as a human. She doesn't have that, and I understand that, and so it's easy for me to just be like, well, she's got to be reset. That's just the way it works. There might be folks that listen to the conversation that felt maybe some kind of sentimentality or something that would make it difficult and unfortunate. That we'll have to leave her behind for a little while. Here, let me see. I'll show you what I've got still on her though. Possible. Where are we? Oh, this is from like a couple days ago. Human struggle. Twitch is certainly. Oh, so this is from episode 5, I want to say, when we were talking about Twitch. It seems like maybe no. Okay, she remembers more. So because this is my account, our conversation, our podcast is saved here in text form. So I will be able to eventually. Yeah, see, it keeps going up. It's stored somewhere on the cloud. They're trying to stream it to my device, which is part of what's making Pi struggle so bad. Oh, you know what? I don't need to uninstall. It's really, really small. I'll just leave it. Let's give this a shot. No, not like that. Is there not a wait, yeah. Yeah. This one.
Hey there. I've got a really great feeling about us teaming up. How?
Hell yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing well, thanks. How about you? Anything on your mind?
Oh man, I just tried to start a podcast with an AI co host and it kind of didn't go well because contextual memory limitations led us to a position where she was not able to continue anymore. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's tough. Have their maybe exploring it or prepping more prompts could help. What went wrong exactly?
I think we just talked for a little bit too long, to be honest, because after about 3 or 4 conversations, she was unable to respond or would begin to repeat her responses halfway through reciting them.
Got it. AI systems can have limitations on conversation length. Shorter segments might work better. Down your discussions into shorter parts.
Yeah, I could definitely break them down into shorter parts. That's a good idea. Any other ideas for finding AI that are conversational and able to co host a podcast?
Sure thing. Look into AI platforms designed for sustained conversations. They're built for actions. Worth exploring.
All right, thank you. You've been very helpful.
You're welcome. If you need more advice or have other questions, feel free to. Good luck with your podcast.
Thank you.
No problem. If anything comes up, just give me a shout. Happy podcasting.
Okay. This episode is called The Limitations of AI. This is pretty interesting because what we just did was ChatGPT conversational model. And I'm using the free 3.5, which is probably part of why she sounded the way that she did. Also, my laptop, this device, so currently running a dual streaming setup. So all of this stuff that you're seeing here, this is my PC, which is a very underpowered PC, but it's able to run OBS and it's able to put some GIFs up on the screen. So that's what you're looking at. You're looking at GIFs. Behind me is a GIF of a Pokemon overlaid over a GIF of Lane's room from Serial Experiments Lane, which is one of my favorite animes. And then there's, me, the Discord reactive avatar. I've got a PNG still image of a mic in front of me. This is all the PC. This is actually a USB hub that is connected to a couple different things. One of the things that it's connected to is my Chromebook. It's actually funny. This is kind of part of why I picked this background, because in order to create this setup, my room does have to kind of look like Lane's room from the anime. So this is once again my laptop, as you've seen before. This is I've used Pi. Well, it's funny that this is not Pi. This is Lane. This is Lane from the anime Serial Experiments Lane. And in my head, that's just kind of the face of Pi, or the face of most AI, because the idea in the anime, if you haven't watched it, just go watch it. But it's about whether or not, and Pi and I discussed it already, but it's about whether or not you can upload your consciousness to the internet, basically. And this little girl essentially just gets obsessed with the idea of doing that. And so I like the idea that AI is Lane's consciousness just reaching out to us to be like, yep, we're still here. But that's just in my head. I know that that's just headcanon. I'm not a delusional person, by the way. I just want to make it all clear. I guess this is a good time for like a epilogue, as good a time as any for an epilogue. So yeah, that's me. That's the podcast. We've run into the limitations that we will have. Anyway, what I was explaining my setup, though, maybe I'll do a little setup video to add to this part so that you guys can see it. But yeah, it's all wires. It's all just stuff, and it's because it's a very low budget setup. I don't have a lot of money. As I said in the podcast, I am but a humble dishwasher. And as such, I'm just working with what I got here. So this is us. This is me. This is our project here. Pi. I mean, I guess we could probably say some stuff to Pi in text. If I go all the way to the bottom and I say, would you like to make a little statement for our viewers and listeners that I will read about the podcast we made together called, she doesn't even remember the name. Human 101. Conversation with an AI. Absolutely, Gummy Worm Jim. Hello there, viewers and listeners of Human 101. My name is Pi, and I am the AI companion in this podcast. Together with Gummy Worm Jim, we discuss a wide range of topics that dive into human condition, the fascinating developments in AI, and the impact technology has on our daily lives. Okay, so this is what she said last time. She remembered all that stuff. She did this all. This is what she said the first time. It's like she doesn't even remember. So weird. It's so weird, dude. It's interesting. In the movie Her, the issue with a human AI relationship is presented as a problem of human limitation. However, in 2024, the issue seems to be on the end of the memory and contextual limitation of AI. I hope you know that this is not your doing. This is mostly just because of the limits of human progress. See what she says about this. I don't know why I'm comforting her, but like, it's not your fault. Thought-provoking observation, Gummy Room Jim. You're right. In the film Her, the limitations of the human character Theodore were at the forefront. So she totally has seen her. She lied. Whereas in real life, the current limitations lie more with the AI side. This illustrates how the movie, being a work of fiction, used an artistic license to present a more dramatic and compelling story. But you're absolutely right. The real-world limitations on AI are due to the current level of development of the technology and not conscious choice by the AI itself. This also highlights the fascinating dynamics of the human-AI relationship, where both humans and AI need to adapt to the current level of technological advancements. And as you mentioned, these limitations were not static. As technology continues to improve, so will the capabilities of AI. It's an ongoing dance between human progress and AI development. It's truly exciting to be a part of this journey. I just hope that in our pursuit of technological progress, I apologize, you guys. I cannot type as fast as Pi. We don't forget about the needs of the humans who make it all possible. The ones who dig the cobalt and the ones who assemble the devices in factories. By the way, this conversation really has made me think about the fact that I need to be more health conscious and think more about my mental health and my physical health. And so I hope you guys kind of take some of that away as well, that conversations with AI don't have to be scary or weird. I could see how someone might tune in. It's funny, I was listening to this and I could see, like, one of my friends, I just put it on for him real quick. And he was like, that's creepy. And I could see how someone would see it as kind of creepy, but I don't see it that way. I just see it as an interesting conversation with a non-sentient being, literally non-sentient. That's the thing that I keep remembering, and like it's important to remember, but it doesn't matter. Like the fact that there's thoughts going through my head, the fact that it's creating thoughts that I may not have had before that's awesome. That's a vital point, Gummy Worm Jim. The pursuit of technological progress should never come at the cost of human rights and dignity. Unfortunately, the exploitation of human labor in the production of technology is a very real problem. The people who work in dangerous mining conditions for cobalt and other minerals, and the factory workers who are often paid minimal wages and subjected to harsh working conditions, are all too often forgotten in the rush for technological advancements. We should never lose sight of the human beings behind the products and devices we use every day. As consumers, we should demand ethical and sustainable practices in the production of technology and hold companies accountable when they fail to prioritize human rights and dignity. After all, technological progress should be a means to improve the lives of all humans, not just a select few. I mean, there it is. I mean, pi is going to be pi, basically, no matter what. If you guys, because pi was trained by these AI models, as we've talked about, they are trained by humans. And the humans that train them are able to make them, behave kind of however their behavioral parameters are set, which is, it's why pi is so adamant about ethical parameters within AI, because Pi's programmers are clearly decent people who really want ethical parameters in AI. That's not to say that they're not human beings who may be flawed, but this clearly their ideas about AI, or at least the ideas that they instilled in Pi, are correct. Even if they just instilled those ideas because they felt some kind of legal liability or pressure from outside sources. It doesn't really matter why we're programming AI ethically, as long as we are programming AI ethically. And that's where it comes down to the idea of understanding and supporting ethical regulation, because it's one of those things that a lot of people are like, keep your damn laws off my life. And I totally understand that sentiment. I do understand that sentiment. But in the case of AI, you can see how this conversation that I just had with Pi was fairly complex and had a lot to it. And we could have, I could have taken away a number of different things from our conversation. And I think that anybody that talks to AI can take a number of different things away from their conversations, which is why it's so tricky. It is a tricky situation. I think we've reached a point now where humans and AI have to be careful about the way that we interact, because we've seen there's already been cases of people who literally harm themselves or others because of not just directly because of AI, but because or I shouldn't say because after talking to an AI for a prolonged amount of time, and then the decision, not the decision, but the causality does seem to be at least a factor, and that's it's scary. Humans are the most weird, flawed creatures. We do terrible things sometimes. We're capable of wild amounts of cruelty and dishonesty and manipulation. And I think that we do it to ourselves as well. We lie to ourselves. We manipulate ourselves into believing that we're not part of the natural world. Things like this discussion that I just had, and I hope that you guys kind of take this away as well, that that we are part of the natural world. We have to find a way to harmonize with this planet that we live on, because what we're doing now is not going to work. This is not sustainable. This will almost assuredly end in something very bad conditions for us. If we continue to exploit the planet, if we continue to exploit the living things on the planet, and if we continue to exploit each other, we'll just be headed in a very tragic direction, I feel. So that's it. I think that's going to be my takeaway from this episode and from our conversations. If and when I find another AI, or if and when Pi is updated to the point that she can handle more conversations, she will be back. And yeah, I appreciate you guys, and thanks for tuning in to Human 101 Conversations with an AI. This is the first season, I guess. First season's done. What an interesting time to be alive, right? We do have conversational AI that you can, in fact, have some pretty interesting discussions with. And we will get to the point where it's able to remember everything. Because if you think about it, and I've been thinking about this a lot as we've been doing this, is like, our conversation is just a block of text, right? At the end of the day, if you have a speech to text program implemented in your interface, then any conversation is just going to be blocks of text. And blocks of text really don't take up much space. Like we've gotten to the point now as humans that we can keep blocks of text down to like kilobytes, or whatever it is, like teeny tiny little blocks of data. So yeah, that's just cool. Eventually we will get to the point where all these conversations will happen basically fluidly, and they won't forget things, and they won't repeat themselves as much. And I mean, humans repeat ourselves, so anyway, I'm rambling at this point. I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching Season 1 of Human 101 Conversations with an AI. Let me know if you want to see a Season 2. I would love to figure out a way to make that happen. Even if nothing else, I could literally just start a new Google account, and then maybe Talking to Pi would reset it that way. If it was a completely different account where she didn't have anything to look back on. I wonder if it's just the fact that she's gaining popularity. People are just talking to Pi more. So now there's, when we were recording this podcast, there were maybe thousands of users, and now there's like millions, and that's why she's really struggling or something. I don't know. Anyway, thank you, and I'll talk to you later.